Ethiopia, the nation of fairness, the symbol of freedom, the origin of mankind. Ethiopia Today is the English-language news channel which brings the latest from Ethiopia, mainly focusing on economy, digitalization, culture, history, tourism. Thanks for stopping by. I'm Brooke from Ethiopia Today. Happy New Year. Our news today focuses on Professor Alemayehu Gebre Mariam's criticism on CNN. Stay tuned until the end to understand his full evidences on his criticisms.
And while this nation has been tested by war, and it's been tested by recession, and all manner of challenges, I stand before you again tonight, after almost 2 terms as your president, to tell you I am more optimistic about the future of America than ever before.
When it comes to CNN, I don't want to trust it, says Professor Alemayehu Gebre Mariam. Professor Alemayehu teaches political science at California State University, San Bernardino. His teaching areas include American constitutional law, civil rights law, judicial process, American and California state governments, and African politics. He has published 2 volumes on American constitutional law, including American Constitutional Law, Structures and Process, 1994, and American Constitutional Law, Civil Liberties and Civil Rights, 1998. He is the senior editor of the International Journal of Ethiopian Studies, a leading scholarly journal on Ethiopia. CNN is the paragon of yellow journalism, Alemayehu underscores. Yellow journalism is a phrase used to describe practices by the news media which tries to attract readership by eye-catching, sensational and lurid headlines for increased sales and reader or viewer attention. CNN's operating principle is if it bleeds, it leads. Alemayehu added. CNN proclaims to follow standards of journalistic integrity reads as follow. Whether on television or online, our journalists abide by high standards of ethics and strive to adhere to stringent standards of journalistic integrity. We expect our reporters, producers and writers to be fair, honest, and to confirm the fact before online articles or TV segments are released to the public. We firmly believe in a free and independent press. A fundamental principle of journalism at our networks is the ability of reporters, producers, TV crews, and filmmakers to seek out and report the facts and tell stories without interference from governments or other external influences. Let's look at 2 CNN reports on Ethiopia this past week and determine CNN's allegiance to its declared principle of journalistic integrity, says Professor Alemayehu. On September 9, 2021, CNN put out a shameless hatchet job piece on Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. Sensationally titled, From Nobel Laureate to Global Pariah, How the World Got Abiy Ahmed and Ethiopia So Wrong. The piece is written to demonize, dehumanize and criminalize Prime Minister Abiy personally and scandalize, tribalize, pulverize and ostracize Ethiopia in the court of white American public opinion, as Professor Alemayehu underlines. CNN's use of the word pariah to describe Prime Minister Abiy reminded me of Anderson Cooper's declaration of the United States a pariah state. CNN even claims the pariah Prime Minister's first act every morning is to pray to God instead of meeting his top advisors. Hallelujah! The evidence to support the campaign of fear and smear is supplied by diaspora TPLF leaders and fellow travelers. The lead witness or authority in the story is a longtime member of the terrorist who could best be described as jittery, bumbling, good for nothing, know nothing, wishy-washy excuse for a diplomat who claims. One of the ironies of a prime minister who came to office promising unity is that he has deliberately exacerbated hatred between different groups. Abiy's focus had never been about reform or democracy or human rights or freedom of the press. It is simply consolidating power for himself, and getting money out of it. The story quotes a publisher of a local rag that habitually carps against Prime Minister Abiy. Soon after Abiy was crowned with the Nobel Peace Prize, he lost an appetite in pursuing domestic reform. He, Prime Minister Abiy, considered it, Nobel Peace Prize, a blanket pass to do as he wishes. He sees himself as a messiah, as chosen, as someone who's destined to make Ethiopia great again, but this country is collapsing. Another TPLF apologist and fellow traveler and self-described part-time professor is quoted as saying, "I am of the strongest opinion that the Nobel Prize Committee is responsible for what is happening in Ethiopia, at least partially. They had reliable information, many experts sounded their early warning. We're working, basically, to execute a war, to sandwich Tigray from south and north carefully by ostracizing one political party first." CNN quotes another authority described as Horn of Africa researcher from Tigray who claims, by the time the war started in November, the international community was extremely committed to the idea of Abiy Ahmed as a reformer still, and they didn't want to give up on that. No one who had a favorable view of PM was contacted to balance the story. The fact of the matter is that demonization of strong, independent-minded black leaders by the liberal media is nothing new. When Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. publicly opposed the Vietnam War, the liberal media declared he had alienated his white liberal supporters and is doomed to fail. The liberal media said Dr. King had become a pariah. Such is the gutter journalism of CNN, states Alemayehu. So, demonization of black Nobel laureates who do not toe the white liberal line is to be expected. Their view is, we made you and we can break you. In other words, the liberal media will lionize a black leader when they can manipulate them into being puppets and demonize them when they are strong and independent. Whatever happened to CNN's standard declaring, we expect our reporters, producers and writers to be fair, honest and to confirm the facts before online articles or TV segments are released to the public. On September 10, 2021, one day after the hit piece on Prime Minister Abiy, CNN published a story written by 5 individuals, sensationally titled, "Men are marched out of prison camps. Then corpses float down the river." This piece is indisputably the ultimate example of if it bleeds, it leads tabloid journalism, added Professor Alemayehu. The story begins with grave, dramatic, eschatological end-of-the-world tone. The ghostly outlines of limbs emerge through the mist along the Seti River in eastern Sudan. As the river's path narrows, the drifting bodies become wedged on the silty clay bank and their forms appear more clearly: men, women, teenagers and even children. The marks of torture are easily visible on some, their arms held tightly behind their backs. The story claims, "The evidence indicates the dead are Tigrayans. Witnesses on the ground say the bodies tell a dark story of mass detentions and mass executions across the border in Humera, a town in Ethiopia's Tigray region." CNN has spoken with dozens of witnesses collecting the bodies in Sudan, as well as international and local forensic experts and people trapped and hiding in Humera, to reveal what appears to be a new phase of ethnic cleansing in Ethiopia's war. CNN does not indicate what specific evidence it used to support the claims in its story. What is the evidence of ethnic cleansing? One of the principal witnesses or informants CNN relies on is a TPLF operative and fugitive from justice and a suspect in the Maikadra massacres which occurred in November 2020. The dozens of witnesses CNN has interviewed are TPLF members and sympathizers, and many of them suspects in the Maikadra massacres. Conveniently, CNN does not disclose the identity of the individuals or institutions that provided forensic analysis which CNN used to give scientific credibility to its story, said Alemayehu. The bottom line is that CNN, New York Times, The Washington Post, AP and the rest of the Western prostitutes have pulled out their long knives to cut Ethiopian into pieces in their propaganda war. Indeed, on February 20, 2021, I responded to a similar attack in my piece entitled, "Bloomberg Editorial Board's Hatchet Job of Lies and Damned Lies on Ethiopia," Professor added. CNN's political agenda using cheap shots is clear: portray Prime Minister Abiy as a pariah, a dictator, an ethnic cleanser, warmonger, creator of man-mad famine, blah blah blah. CNN's political agenda is to provide propaganda cover for the TPLF and the Biden administration's one-sided policy against Ethiopia, according to Professor Alemayehu. CNN does not once mention the whole catastrophe was the result of the criminal and terrorist attack of the TPLF on the Northern Command. If the TPLF had not launched a preemptive attack on November 4, 2020, Tigray and the rest of Ethiopia would be waging development, not war. CNN is nothing more than a propaganda outlet for the likes of Susan Rice, the Duchess of Darkness and her crew of Obama rethreads, said Alemayehu. CNN is pushing Susan Rice's political agenda to restore the TPLF to power in Ethiopia. CNN propagates lies, falsehoods, half-truths on Ethiopia as truth, facts and evidence. CNN wants to delegitimize Prime Minister Abiy as it tried to do to President Trump. CNN will keep pumping fake news, lies and disinformation, hoping to rain on Prime Minister Abiy's inauguration. CNN hopes it can rain on Prime Minister Abiy's parade as he launches his newly freely and fairly elected new government set to start in early next month. CNN is obsessed with the headlines of the hour, the minute and the second on Ethiopia. CNN is not interested in reporting the truth or publishing stories that are factually supported and balanced. CNN wants to create the news itself out of whole cloth by fabricating facts, selectively culling evidence that support its predetermined conclusions and make its fake news on Ethiopia respectable and acceptable, he added. CNN reporters are using their fake news reporting on Ethiopia to make themselves media stars. They want to be Western media heroes saving savage black Africans from themselves. CNN is the modern-day institutional equivalence of Rudyard Kipling, the notorious apologist of colonialism, Alemayehu continued to say. The only difference is CNN uses its global media power to push the white man's burden while Kipling was limited to his poetry. CNN's reporters on Ethiopia are angling for the Pulitzer Prize, World Press Review Award, Overseas Press Club Award, Robert F. Kennedy Human Rights and so on. CNN has determined and is convinced that its reporters are as much a part of the story in Tigray as the story itself. CNN's fake news are too numerous to count, as the conviction of Professor Alemayehu Gebre Mariam. CNN does not want to report the news. CNN wants to create the news, falsify and propagate it. CNN has to do something, anything to prop up its ever-declining ratings. CNN was forced to fire its executive editor in charge of its investigative unit and others after it was proven the CNN report on the Russian investment fund with ties to Trump officials was fake news. CNN propagates lies, falsehoods, half-truths on Ethiopia as truth, facts and evidence without any professional editorial oversight. CNN's editors raise no skepticism or seek corroboration and allow rumors and innuendos as facts on its Ethiopia reporting. CNN's story that a CIA asset had had to be extracted from Russia in 2017 because President Trump had put him in danger was proven to be fake news. CNN's story that President Trump's lawyers had edited Michael Cohen's 2017 testimony before Congress and thereby suborned perjury was proven to be fake news. CNN's story President Trump and his campaign had been granted early access to the hacked DNC emails was proven to be fake news. In 2017, CNN, trying to shake off its well-deserved label of fake news central, launched a new slogan, Facts First, claiming that unlike President Trump, its employees were able to distinguish between an apple and a banana. The fact of the matter is that CNN has gone bananas on its fake news reporting on Ethiopia. Quoting CNN's Facts First promo, I say, CNN's fake news reporting on Ethiopia is bananas. 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 Let me put it bluntly. Americans are sick and tired of being sick and tired of America playing world policeman. No American can feel proud watching the Biden administration's ignominious withdrawal from Afghanistan. By coddling the Taliban terrorists, Biden humiliated America. By coddling the TPLF terrorists, Biden is not going to humiliate Ethiopia. Never. May God bless Ethiopia and its people. Thanks for your time, and we hope you enjoyed our presentation. Please give us a like, and share this to others. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you will be notified as soon as we upload new videos. And also feel completely free to comment. Thanks again.